I have now done over 1,000 kilometers on this Royal Enfield Classic 350, and here's a few things that I've learned so far. Okay, I have the bike on the center stand to show you how far my legs are when I ride this thing. When I passed my test, and again, I'm a beginner rider, I'm 36 years old. This is like the 20th time I ride a motorcycle. But when I got this bike, my initial reaction, oh my gosh, it's so uncomfortable. I had to have my feet so far away from the controls, because when I passed my course, I was on a Honda CBR 125, which is a sports bike, which is a little sports bike, like a super beginner sports bike. And there, it was more of a leaning position forward, not too much, not too uncomfortable, but also my legs, my feet were way closer towards the bike. So when I sat on this, it felt like, oh wait, it was very uncomfortable. I had to do this kind of thing. So then I realized I just have to have it's a much more relaxed sitting position. It's more upright. My legs are relaxed, like far away. It's not like I have to ride like this, but my feet had to be much more further away. And that took me like a good hour of riding to get used to that, to have my feet further apart. And that day when I got this bike, I had to ride 160 kilometers from Scarborough to Collingwood. And I got used to it pretty quickly, but initially that was very uncomfortable. Like I had to be riding in a busy neighborhood first and it was kind of stressful because again, I was a beginner rider and I still am, but I'm way more comfortable in the sitting position, and I really enjoy this sitting position. But I would love to have a sports bike eventually. Then the second part, and I learned that on my initial first day riding this motorcycle, once I was riding through Scarborough at like 40, 50, 60 kilometers an hour through the town, I didn't think of this as anything. But then I got to the roads where it's 80 kilometers, 90 kilometers an hour, and now there's no fairing, there's no wind deflector, whatever it's called. And I've never experienced this because again, my riding a motorcycle was just on a parking lot to pass my test. So then I'm riding 80, 90 kilometers an hour, 100 sometimes, and the wind hits you like if you ever, everyone did this probably, when they're driving a car, you open up the window and you stick out your hand out. That wind at like 60, 70, 80, 90 kilometers an hour, it really throws your hand away. So you feel that everywhere, on my body, on my face. And I have a full face helmet. Maybe it's less. I've yet to experience like a half helmet, but I feel more protected with a full face helmet. So that was the second thing that I learned, is that there's no wind deflection here, so it really hits you. It's a bit of a workout actually at 80, 90, 100 kilometers an hour. And it's like I was riding and I'm like, what the hell, is this the wind? And I'm looking at all the trees as I pass them by, and they're all like straight, not moving. So okay, so this is just what it is like riding at 80, 90, 100 kilometers an hour. And I can't imagine how it is at like highway speeds. And so yeah, it's a bit of a workout, but I really like the look of it without any wind deflection. So I'm just gonna continue riding it like this until I experience a different motorcycle that maybe has a fairing. At the same time as I experienced that wind wall, as I call it, I experienced something as freaking not hearing anything, not the motorcycle, not the road. All I heard is the wind in my ears. And to simulate, I'm warning you, this is how it sounds like when I ride at like 80, 90 kilometers an hour. I'm gonna check if that's actually how it sounds, but that's it's just wind noise. And I know, watching Freddie Dobbs videos, is that he wears earplugs. So I bought earplugs, motorcycle earplugs, and then I'm realizing I'm gonna show you how they look right now. But they kind of look like earplugs that I used working in a factory. Like I know there's some element there that has a hole that like, but I don't know if they're worth $30. Those earplugs that apparently are washable, and there's a whole like spreadsheet of like what they, how they're designed, but they look like not any different than the rubberized earplugs that cost nothing. So I'm gonna later on test different earplugs and see. But I rode with these earplugs, and I think what I'll do is if I know I'm riding more than say 40 minutes, and I know I'm gonna be riding on speeds like 80 and above, then I'm probably gonna 45 plus minutes. If I'm riding in that speed, I'm gonna wear them. If not, if I'm like stop and go and my ride is like less than 40 minutes, then I'm not gonna wear earplugs. I feel like it's gonna be fine, and I enjoy hearing the motorcycle more. But it is noisy. Also, then I realized, I did some research. This helmet, full face helmet, is only $100. I bought this just to pass the test, not knowing like I don't want to spend $500 on a helmet, which is, some of them they say are way more insulated or they're soundproof, way more soundproof than this $100 one. But I didn't want to spend that because I don't know, like, will I pass the test? Will I want to be riding after I've done the course? Like, will I, like, I don't know. I didn't know. So I bought this $100 helmet. And apparently it's like, it's not even for a motorcycle. It's for like a snowmobile. Because I wanted to buy a visor that's tinted and I can't find it. And all of it is just like, it seems like this AFX, whatever it's called, I forgot. Apparently it's for snowmobilers, but it's DOT approved and everything, but it's not as noise, wind, sound protected as some other high-end full face helmets are supposed to be, apparently. I don't know, but definitely will need an upgrade. It's probably how this visor seals. It's like I don't know what makes them more soundproof, but they're just probably better quality. But that's what it is. It's like a huge wind noise in your head when you're riding above 80 kilometers an hour. Yeah. The next thing I learned is that what they say, how long you can ride on this tank, which is a 13-liter tank. I didn't even know that, and no one told me this. Why didn't they tell me this? That you're supposed to leave like almost 3 liters in there, maybe 1.5, maybe 2, like, but I didn't know that. Did you know that? Like on a motorcycle, you have to be precise. Like I'm driving a car, like when it's empty, I know that there's still gas left in it, so I'm just filling it up. But on a motorcycle, because it's a way smaller tank, you really have to be mindful of like how much you're leaving in there. So what I've learned is that I'm riding 250 kilometers and that's when I fill it up, and that costs me around like $10-11. So $10-11 for 250 kilometers of riding. And I leave like, and when, because I put it, the trip number 2, I put it at 0 every time I fill up, and that's how I keep track. And probably that's how most riders keep track. Even though I have a fuel gauge on this, it's like 2 lines, and it probably depends how I ride it. But I just tend to have 2 bars left when I'm at like 250 kilometers. So yeah, you have to leave 3 liters, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know if you find out that it's like different thing, but maybe it's a liter, but I think a liter is not enough. I think you're supposed to leave like usable. Tank size is 13 liters, but usable is 10, is what I've learned so far, unless if I learn something different later on. But again, 250 kilometers for $10-11, that's pretty good. Another thing that I wish someone would tell me is that the first service is at 500 kilometers. And by the time it took me from Scarborough to Collingwood to ride to Collingwood, 160 kilometers, plus 160 to go back, I'm already at 320. And the little bit of riding that I did here I had to like take it in the first 2 weeks. I had to take it back already. But anyway, the next service is at 5,000 kilometers. The first service cost me at the dealer $250 plus tax, so it was like $280 something. That was unexpected of a payment to have done like within the first 2 weeks of writing it, but it is what it is. And I think I didn't know that, but it's like one of the most important services to do is after like that first 500 kilometers. So now you know. If you didn't know, they didn't tell you. Now you know. Be warned. And maybe it costs more wherever you are. I don't know. So you have to ask the dealer maybe before you are getting the bike. One last thing, I think. This thing, switching gears, or it could be the clutch, I don't know. But from first, you shift down for first gear, and then you have to go up 2, 3, 4, 5. But from first to second, it kept going to neutral. So I'm I'm stopped at a red light or from a stop sign. And I started going in the first gear. Yeah, it's fun. Motorcycling is amazing. And then I switched to second, and all of a sudden I'm in neutral. I'm like revving it in the middle of the intersection. So I have to, and it happens quickly. You switch it to second pretty quickly. Like no one even probably notices. But it's super annoying. And I think it could be me, but I think it's way better after the first service. And I don't know right now if it's a thing with motorcycles, with new motorcycles, with this model, with Royal Enfields. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's entirely me, but that was happening. Now it's happens way less. Maybe it's how I'm shifting, but like why doesn't it happen? And like I tried different ways to shift too. So like putting the clutch all the way in, not all the way in, like really hitting it hard from first to second. Like I've tried everything, I think. But the good thing is that after I've done the first service, it feels a lot better, and it does that way less. From first to second, switching from first to second, it does not go to neutral as often. So I don't know. If you have pointers, if you know what this thing is, what this monster is, the neutral, please let me know. Overall, I'm at like 12 out of 10 happy with this bike. And I don't know if you can get a sexier bike. The modern classic. Well, actually, I started looking at other bikes, and like I'm falling in love with other bikes as well. I feel like I want to have a gazillion motorcycles. But very happy with this bike, very happy. Can't wait to make more videos, different videos on this. Stay tuned. I'll see you around. Comment below. What do you think of this bike? Whatever I've shared, if you know more, I really want to learn more.